Hey everyone, welcome back to Podcasting While Black with Glenn and Chanel. It's been a minute and a lot has changed since the last time we recorded an episode. The world has gone to shit. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and so we thought we would get on here and talk to you guys and fill you in on some information and data and just get your thoughts on what's going on. Okay?
Yep, before we all die.
Fine people on both sides.
An Ohio grand jury today declined to indict two white Cleveland police officers in the shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice.
And Governor Scott, the last thing we need to do is to monkey this up.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream.
We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
We've been in a stay-at-home order for the last 8 weeks, since March 13th or so. Our kids have been out of school. We've been trapped
Take
in
them
the
back,
house.
Lord. Listen, before we even go on to that shit, listen. I have respect for teachers. If you're a teacher and you listen to this, I salute you. Because I swear to God, I'm going to kill one of these little motherfuckers. I swear to God. Every single day, I'm sitting there trying to teach him some shit, and he looking at me like I'm the dumbass. Like, I don't know what the fuck going on. I'm like, I got a high school diploma. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm on a tangent. Go ahead.
No, that's what we're in right now. That's why we said let's get on here and record an episode and just share our frustrations and this new normal that we're in. It's not normal at all. So yes, we're trapped in the house for the last 8 weeks or so with our children.
With
because
our children, goddamn.
who have been out of school. We've been trying to balance working from home and also homeschooling our children, and also balancing how to get essentials such as groceries while at home and not going out and getting infected and so on. We are in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic for year 2020, right?
Yeah, who would have thought that 2020 would have been like this? Shit.
Only thing I was thinking of as a kid in 2020 is there'll be flying cars.
Yeah, flying cars. I used to watch the Jetsons and shit. I mean, but you know what's funny? I seen a meme on Facebook where they were showing like them doing like the video medicine with the doctors and doing video conferencing at work, and you're doing classes online, and they were showing all the different things that the Jetsons was doing and shit. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, we doing that shit right now.
The Jetsons, the cartoon?
Jetsons, yeah.
They were doing that?
Yeah. See?
Oh, I didn't pay attention to that. I was just paying attention to Rosie, the robotic hand, the maid.
Yeah. Yes. A little bit more deeper than that. she wasn't a star.
I was like, I need one of those right now.
Yo, you ain't never lie. I need a nanny. Listen, I will look. With Zuckerberg, if you can make a fucking robot nanny that could teach my kids arithmetic so they'll leave me the fuck alone, man, I will listen. I'll give you whatever you need.
Yes, these kids. Well, it's new for everybody. It's new for us. It's new for the kids. We don't know how we're supposed to act because this is all new.
Yeah, pretty much. But I know one thing: these kids about to get their ass whipped hard.
Well, before we go there,
I love my kids, but goddamn, it's almost to the point where Thursday I almost dropped them off in the school parking lot and was just like, look, fuck it, figure it the fuck out.
If you look at it from their perspective, imagine them being trapped in the house with their adults, their parents. Usually they get an 8-hour break from us.
They don't pay no bills to get no fucking break from me. Listen, if you want a break, you gotta pay something. Man,
they stressed out just like us, is what I'm saying. My point.
They need to pay some bills then. Then I tell them about real stress.
How did we get here? So it's approximately May 2020 right now. We've been in lockdown since March. Apparently, the federal government has known about the coronavirus epidemic since about January. And so here we are with, as of the recording of this episode, the United States has about 90,000 people that have passed away due to coronavirus. We have about 1.5 million cases of the coronavirus as of May 2020. The top states right now are New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and Massachusetts right now. So those are the ones that are leading the pack, even though practically every state has some reported cases. So where do we go from here?
I mean, you know what? Our president is so incompetent that I'm at a point where I'm scared because he's this. First of all, this shit didn't have to happen the way it went down. If he would have in January did a couple of things. First thing, if he would have told the companies to start making PPE, put that order in then. If he would have to put a plan in place to do mitigation early, or when the shit got out of hand and he noticed that cases are rising, do a national shutdown order for about a month or so to get the cases to go down, and then we can sit back and try to do mitigation instead of doing the bullshit that we did. And now you got all these infections going on and there's no sight and end. And then the top of the loft, this jackass is trying to reopen the government. Jersey's starting to come down in their numbers. But then you're trying to force people to go back to work, and all you're gonna do is create more cases. Like, it's just stupid.
It is. I don't think it's a well thought out plan. I mean, he had a task force that he created. However, he came out and got in front of the cameras every day for like 4 to 6 weeks, even though he had a task force, and came out and just obliterated everything they said. They said, for example, let's do social distancing, let's do face coverings. And this man doesn't even want to wear a face covering himself.
Yeah, Trump's like, fuck that. But my thing is, why don't he get it? Like, I'm just like, listen, my whole thing is this. I wish, and I know this sound bad, you know, I might have the Secret Service knocking on my door, but he needs to get it so that he knows how the rest of America is feeling right now. Because for him to sit back and do all this bullshit, all these people are dying unnecessarily, and he wants to send people back to work so he can win a campaign. It's a freaking nightmare.
It is. Every day I wake up and like wonder, is this is so surreal? Is it real? Walking around with a face mask, that's a new accessory that you can, now shop online for different face masks to go with an outfit or so. It's just
Hell
crazy.
Yeah,
to
I was
me.
about to buy me that Gucci mask, bitch. I saw that Gucci mask. I was like, I'm gonna be flossing on these bitches at the line in the Target. Don't fuck with me. Shit.
But it's the I Am Legend. We're living it.
Yeah,
Will Smith and his German Shepherd dog. That's what we living right now.
You know what's funny? You know when you were watching like I Am Legend and shit, and like shit was happening, but you could hear it on the news, and they'd be like, shit is happening, pandemics on the news and everything else. That's what we're in the beginning stages of I Am Legend. Soon I'm gonna be in the fucking street shooting deer, talking to fucking mannequins. It's gonna happen.
That's what it seems like. Hunting for food during the day. Right.
There's gonna be motherfuckers sitting in the street, fucking shaking and shit, because they infected. Like COVID's gonna mutate into some crazy bullshit.
Especially with the rush of trying to get a vaccine. So yesterday, which was a Friday, he got out in front of the cameras to say that we're warp speed ahead on a vaccine. That we're
What
working.
the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? What is warp speed?
I don't know.
I guess I got to do with Space Force.
Something. He was coming out to ease our minds and let them know that we are working toward a vaccine. But he did say that let's not make a vaccine the criteria to feel safe.
Sorry,
okay? Yeah.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Let's not, even though a vaccine is coming, there are a lot of different countries that are working toward it and so on. Let's not rely on that as a way to get comfortable again, easing back into the way it used to be. Don't wait for the vaccine. Let's still go ahead. I mean, because this is going to go away. That's what he said.
All you gotta do, Chanel, listen. All you gotta do is drink bleach.
I know.
All you gotta do is just take a Lysol cocktail before you go to bed. That's it. And you're good. Go to work. Slacker. Yo, he's a fucking idiot. I'm surprised he's not telling little kids to go lick the doorknob. Like,
he wants us to get back to work so he can. How many months do we have until election?
Like 6 months, I think?
6 months. So he's like, I have a small window to turn this economy around so I can use it as a campaign ad or slogan or, whatever. Look at me in the midst of a pandemic. I brought the economy back. We're stronger than ever. That's what he wants.
But you know what's funny about that shit that pisses me off is that he is taking credit for Obama's hard work. Obama was the reason why the economy has been good for 4 years, for the shit that he did in his 8 years, and fucking Trump inherited it. And to be honest with you, if he would have just left it alone, we would have probably been better than what we were. But he did the bullshit with that stupid ass tax cut for the rich, and then he kind of fucked shit up a little bit in the economy. And now, because of the fact that he didn't act on the pandemic properly, we about to go into a Great Depression. Because I don't listen. People are not really understanding about the financial situations that's happening right now. Listen, the shit's about to go down. And I don't really think people are paying attention. Don't let those stock prices fool you, because what's happening is that the government is propping up the economy. They're going out and they're buying a bunch of bad debt, and then they're printing money like it's going out of style, trying to do all these stimulus and everything else like that. But it's not an attainable business model. So what's going to happen is eventually the government's going to have to stop doing that bullshit, and when it happens, the fucking market's going to fucking collapse.
Yes, and then in the past week or so, Jerome Powell, who is the head of the Federal Reserve, came out and said, look, I have thrown everything I can at this problem. However, even though we've done that, we still need more action. This is going to be a long process of getting back to normal when it comes to our economy. So he has set out I don't even want to call it a dog whistle. He's blatantly said, like, look, it's going to take us a while to get back to where we were. And Congress needs to act. Congress needs to do more than what they're doing. That $1,200 stimulus was not enough for the middle class. And he admitted that the middle class is what props up the economy. It's what makes the 1% the 1%. So if you fail the middle class, then the whole system will collapse.
There you go. And Moscow Mitch, he don't know what the fuck. Listen, the stupidest thing that I've seen at this whole entire stimulus bullshit was giving businesses money just so that they can keep people on payroll. Let me just explain something to you. I ran a business before. It's very, very basic. If I can't make a profit, okay, and I can't pay rent, it's pointless for me to keep the employees. Why would I want to take out a loan to keep employees that I can't use? And I have rent, I got electric, I like gas just in the store, plus my own living expenses, but I'm not allowed to use the money for that. I have to use the money to keep people on the payroll. The reason why that's stupid, it would have been smarter for them to just give the money to the people so that they can float.
Well, we were given $1,200 so far in April of 2020.
Yeah, but listen,
one-time stimulus payment, $1,200.
No, but hold up. But when they gave the business the money to pay off the employees, it was stupid because they should have gave the money directly to the people, and then they should have told the businesses, the landlords who own the businesses are paying rent to hold that, because then what could have happened is these businesses could have just floated until things got better. Because what kills a business is not being able to pay rent, without being able to pay the utilities. Freeze that, give the money to the people. They would have saved a lot of businesses.
Yeah, I think it was backwards. I think the intention was good, but once they realized that, unfortunately, restaurants, because when I'm thinking of small businesses, that's what I'm thinking about first and foremost, are restaurants. And so they are an industry that's going to be heavily impacted by our new normal. They're not going to be able to reopen with 100% occupancy anymore. They're going to have to do 20% or 50%, something like that. So if you're telling them that they can take a loan and it could possibly be forgiven if they're able to bring back their employees, that is something where I think is not sustainable. Because once we reopen our economies, all these states that are slowly reopening, now that they're operating at half capacity, they no longer need the amount of staff that they needed prior to the pandemic. And so now they took out a loan that is based, they want the forgiveness part, but in order to get the forgiveness part, You have to bring back your employees. But now I'm not able to make as much money as I was before the pandemic. So it's unfortunately it's like a lose-lose situation as a restaurant owner who has taken out a loan from the PPP program and asked their employees to come back. Number one, the employees may not want to come back because of the fact they're getting paid more from unemployment with the extra $600 from the federal government. So they may not even want to come back. But if they're able to come back, that restaurant owner now has to float these employees for whatever amount of months to qualify for forgiveness based on less occupancy in their restaurant.
Or even better yet, if you shut a restaurant down for 3 or 4 months, right? Or listen, I've been shut down for about a month now, 2 months now.
Yeah,
right?
It's been about 8
you
weeks.
You shut a business down for 2 months. When his business opens back up, he's 2 months behind on his rent or his mortgage if he owns the building because they didn't put anything in place to protect these businesses. So he's already opening up his doors at a deficit. So then he brings his employees back. He's going to have to, like you said, he's going to have to cut some of them because he's not going to be able to keep the doors open. And with half occupancy, it's not even worth it.
And then also this is going to remain a loan. He or she will not qualify for forgiveness because unfortunately they did not keep all their employees on payroll, which is one of the small print criteria to make this a forgivable loan.
Right.
And that's where it's like they didn't think this all the way through. 8 weeks was not enough because after they bring their employees back, like, hey, come back and work for us. We're going to reopen for 8 weeks. What happens at the end of the 8 weeks? Because you and I, we're not going to any restaurant anytime soon.
Hell no. Hell no, ain't going to no restaurant.
So, 8
no
weeks.
Restaurant, no movie, no beach. If there's a group of motherfuckers there, you won't see my black ass.
Exactly. So 8 weeks was not enough time. So then they needed to be very, very aggressive and offer loans and forgiveness or whatever for longer than 8 weeks, maybe 18 months, whatever long it takes for us to get a vaccine, because that's really going to build confidence with consumers is a vaccine. If there's no vaccine, then a lot of people are not going to go out and eat like they used to.
Or even if they didn't have a vaccine, do it like China or what South Korea is doing. The way they do their mitigation is freaking beautiful. They use apps. They use a lot of technology in order to sit back and try to stop the spread. And we can't even get motherfuckers to wear masks over here when they go out to the store. Listen, it was the Trump administration failed us. And if you vote for him in November, you failed America too. I'm calling you out. You're a dickhead. Straight up. Because you know what? This is not even about a Republican thing. This is not a Democrat thing. This is just a common sense thing. This is a compassion thing. You got people who are sitting there right now sick and dying because your government is refusing to help you. And not only that, you shut down the country. Cool, I get it. But then you're not giving people money to feed their families. Like, I'm going to tell you straight up, my company, my kids were home from school. My wife was working, so I took a step away from my job to say, let me take care of the kids and help them, because now I'm part of the fucking PTA. I'm a NJEA member and shit. So now I'm teaching my kids, and I applied for unemployment, and that's a fucking joke. I applied for it. I was good. I filled out all the questions. I did everything I needed to do. Then all of a sudden, I go back and check, and my claim no longer exists. So here I am, a month and some change, and I still haven't even received a check from them. And like I said, and the good thing is those that, my wife and I, we're not struggling, so we don't feel the effect. But what happens to that person right now that was living check to check and got 2 kids, a single mom, who now doesn't have any income and they can't get any assistance from the state? I feel for those people.
Yes, and every day I wake up and I thank God the fact that we're still having income. When you hear unemployment rates coming in, 30 million people unemployed during the month of April, just 1 month. So that makes you really thank God every day that you're able to work from home, able to still get a check. But then now you're faced with your president wanting to reopen the economy, wants to send everyone back to work. But the schools are still closed. and the summer camps are still going to be closed and things like that. So that brings another dilemma that I don't think he or his task force followed through is what are Americans supposed to do with their kids? You want everybody to go back to work, but the kids are home. I mean, if you got older kids, teenagers is fine. But if you have elementary and younger kids, it's like, what are you supposed to do with those kids?
Yeah, when I was watching when they were doing the hearing in the Senate, I think was it Rand Paul is his name.
Yeah.
He was trying to argue with Fauci about opening schools because I think they do understand that. So what they're trying to do is force states to open up the schools next year. Even though they're telling them that there is this disease out there that is making kids, swell up and get these crazy rashes, but they don't care about all that because they don't care about your kids. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about you. All they care about is wealth over health. So if they got to sacrifice as many people as they can so that when he goes into November for that election, and he can say that look what I've done. I kept our economy propped up, which is just like he's a kindergartner. Because listen, here goes the thing. If people are not working and people are getting laid off and people are dying, people are not going to go out and shop. They're not going to go out and buy things that are not essential. So if you didn't mitigate it in the first place, so it doesn't matter what happened in November, you're screwed. You're screwed because ain't nobody going to go out and spend money like that. Who going to go out and buy a car just because they want a car right now? Ain't nobody going to do that. Ain't nobody going to the movies right now to go see shit. Ain't nobody going to sit in a restaurant right now. And then I'll take that back. There are some dumbasses that will go out there into these restaurants and their asses are going to end up getting sick. It's not worth it. Stay your ass at home and chill out. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent.
But you're right. I mean, people are going to go out there. You and I may not. We're not.
Hell no.
But people are going to go. They're going to go to the beaches. They're going to go to Disney World. They're going to go to the restaurants, movies, if they open up. But no matter what you say, those businesses are going to feel a decline in the amount of people that usually go to their establishment.
Absolutely, because you even said that they have to be, they're not even fully occupied.
Yeah, they're not going to be fully occupied. For example, the movie theaters, if they do open, they got to have every other row occupied. They have to have spaces in between groups. That is less money in their pockets. They make their money off of filling the seats.
Right.
So if your balance sheet isn't set up to withstand this type of new normal, your business, unfortunately, is going to fail. And then you have, on top of that, the fact that your employees who help you with your business, some of them are not going to be able to come back because they have little kids at home they still have to take care of because there's no daycare to send them to. There's no summer camp to send them to. There's no school to send them to. So somebody has to stay home with the younger kids. And I don't think no one is thinking about all of that. They're just like, open up, go back to work. That's that.
Correct.
And so recently, to try to help, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier about we did get a little bit of stimulus in April, about $1,200 per filer, I guess. A married couple, we get $2,400, or each independent filer, we get $1,200. So recently, as of this recording, like a couple days ago, the House of Representatives passed another potential stimulus of $1,200 again. So this passed the House. It includes a lot of other stuff too. But if you want to know what's going to affect you the most, there's a possibility that you will get another $1,200. And instead of giving you $500 for each child, you'll get $1,200 for each child, up to 3 children. So that's on the books. And now it has to go to the Senate. And the Senate, which is Republican majority, of course, they're going to slice and dice this bill. This bill was about 1,800 pages. They're going to slice and dice it and cut things out. But I'm sure they're probably going to stick with that $1,200 at least.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because I think what's going to end up happening is that they want people to go back to work, so they don't want to give you no money to force you to go back out to work. And if they do give you money, they might just give you $2 and 1 food stamp. No, I
Well,
got a feeling they're gonna block
the
it.
Federal Reserve, I don't know how much pull Jerome Powell has, but he is the head of the Federal Reserve Bank, and he pretty much during an interview in the last week has said, "Look, Congress, do more aggressive action because middle class Americans and even poorer Americans need more help. You
Yeah.
have to do something."
Well, you know what though? I mean, but when you have a doctor like Fauci that's telling you like, yo, we shouldn't rush to judgment to open up schools, and you shouldn't, don't rush to open up the economy yet. Just open up businesses, chill out, and they don't even listen to him. I doubt they're gonna listen to anybody. Like Trump is doing whatever he wants to do. Facts is not Trump's friends. He don't care about facts. Whatever the voices in his head tell him to do, that's just what he does.
Well,
You know
yeah,
what I
he's
mean?
trying to get reelected, and what can he's been running on the past 3 years that he's had an outstanding economy. The stock market has been great, and we have the strongest economy ever. When he speaks in grandeur, like the best ever was, and so he is trying to in the next 6 months or less, trying to make sure that when he goes on the campaign trail that he can still speak that. I have the greatest economy ever. I've had the lowest unemployment ever. And if he's not able to say that, then he thinks he's not going to get reelected. So what can he do? Everybody go back to work. Just go, go, go. Get out there, open up. Please, please, please. Because he even created a task force that created a document that said this is how you can reopen your state. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and these are the criteria for each phase for you to move on to the next phase.
And he was like, fuck those phases. He was like, fuck those phases. Get your ass back to work.
Like, that's going to
Phase
take
1,
too
phase
long.
2, my ass. Let's just get to phase 4 and go to work. He's like, fuck all that.
That's the crazy. He did. It was like Monday. Dr. Deborah Birx, Dr. Fauci, yes, we created this plan. We've looked at all the data, and this is how you can reopen your state, follow these phases, da 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 da. And then by Thursday of the same week, it was like what you said.
He said, fuck those phases. Drink bleach and go to work.
Exactly. So it's like, yo, he don't care. He sees that his window of opportunity to turn this story around is shrinking. And so he needs to get with it. So he's throwing everything at the problem. We have this Obamagate thing that he created. Like, he's trying to throw everything he can to try to and try to increase his chances of reelected. So he's like, yo, the coronavirus is over. The pandemic is over. Let's move on. And now we have Obamagate, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what the hell that is.
What the fuck? Listen, how the fuck are you going to talk about a dude who's not even running against you? He's like Obama in the crib chilling and shit. He's like, he ain't beat for this bullshit. His wife making Netflix specials. They don't give a fuck about Trump. And then he's sitting there talking about Obama. Obama, like, what? I'm just with, like, when Obama was on CNN today and he threw a little shade at his ass, but he was talking about, like, how, Trump wasn't running shit right. I was cracking up. I was hoping he gonna say, like, you know what, Trump, keep my name out your fucking mouth. Shot down.
West side or no south side? Yep, pretty
The
much.
south side, bitch. Keep my name out your mouth.
Yo, this man has a hard on for this man. He must like dream about him, everything. Like, the man hasn't been in office for 3 years. Like, what are you still complaining about this dude? But I think he feels that that's what got him elected in the first place. If I badmouth Obama, if I, he started that whole birtherism thing. Obama wasn't even born. He's not even an American citizen. He wasn't even born in this country. So he thinks that that's what got him elected. Bashing Obama, discrediting Obama. So let's try it again. If it worked once, it'll work again. So now we have this random tweets today I saw, like, just one word tweets from our president, Obamagate. That's all he wrote.
Yo, soon he be talking about Hillary. I mean, Hillary, I'm waiting. It's coming. It's coming. She gonna do something.
I think she's off the hook because Joe Biden is, and that brings me to him because I know we didn't talk about this prior to this, but I saw a few African American women, Angela Rye, The girl from Insecure, Amanda Seales, a few of them are like, yo, you need to make your vice president a black woman. Because he's already said, I'm going to make my vice president a woman. All right? But they are calling, even the woman from The View, Sunny Austin, they all made a public plea and wrote, you owe your campaign to black women. We are the ones who saved your campaign. You're still viable because of us. We're the most dependent voting branch of the Democratic Party are black women. So when you say you're going to make a vice president a woman, it should be a black woman. What do you think?
No, I agree. I agree 100%. But the problem with Biden, or even with the Democrats in general, is that they use black votes as like a political football.
Right.
Like they'll sit back and they'll tell us, black people got it rough, because of discrimination and unfair job practice, redlining, yada yada yada. But then the first time you say, well, what about reparations? And then motherfuckers like, well, I don't believe that, you should get that. And when it comes to Biden and black people in general, Biden's one of those white dudes to be like, well, look, I got a black friend.
I know.
What I mean? Because everything, if you listen to everything that he said, when they asked him questions about race, he missed every single mark. Exactly. And the least he can do right now is to put a black woman on his campaign. On his ticket. Because my whole thing is this. If you want to, black people are getting tired of being used, and then when you get elected, then you forget about us, and then you don't do anything for our community, and all you want to do is talk about jail reform like every black person's in jail. You know what I mean? Like, what about the middle-class black person who just is having a hard time getting through just because of discrimination or not being able to get in the neighborhoods that he wants due to discrimination? So they need to do more, and he needs to do more, and he needs to accept that, and he needs to get a black woman as his running mate. And if he doesn't, then I'm afraid that people might not come to the polls, and that'll just be Trump in there for another 4 years, and my black ass will be in Canada. ASAP.
But that's where I think he has us over a barrel, and that's because we are the most reliable voting bloc when it comes to Democrats. They know that black people will save their ass. I mean, that's what happened in the campaign right now, is that he was dead in the water until South Carolina primary. And then once he got the black people to turn out in South Carolina, that's what put the nail in the coffin for Bernie Sanders. Once black people turned out for Biden, because, people were like, yo, he might not even make it, until the black people stepped up in South Carolina and saved his ass. But now it's like, okay, thank you for saving me, black people. I appreciate it. But I'm going to get a white woman on my ticket. And us as black people, I think he would probably think y'all still gonna vote for me, because if you don't vote for me, what, you gonna wind up with another 4 years of Donald Trump?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he could he could wind up like, thanks a lot, guys, but I'm gonna go this way. And I do like Elizabeth Warren. I liked a lot of her policies, but I'm torn between, do I want her to be his VP pick, or do I think he should get a black female vice president pick just because he owes us one?
I mean, put it like this. The only one that I could be like, okay, is Elizabeth Warren. Like, if you picked Elizabeth Warren, don't get it wrong. Like, I really would want a black woman. However, Elizabeth Warren was the only person on that stage, and this is just my opinion. You ain't got to listen to me. But she came with facts of how she was going to do it. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to make it happen. And I wish she would have been there instead of Biden, but, shit happens.
Yeah. I think we went with the safest bet, and we thought that Biden, even though he's 77 years old, which actually makes his VP pick very, very essential, because he's 77 years old. He'll be 78 when he becomes president. So it's like, yo, This is a great deal. If you pick the right VP, there's a possibility. I hate to say it that he would pass away in office,
Can
but
you picture if Bernie got that shit? They would have to have defibrillator paddles in the fucking Oval Office. This motherfucker had a heart attack on the campaign trail. Shit, and I'm like, I ain't voting for you. Fuck that. I'm like, shit.
But that disgusts me overall. Is like, why were the last men standing number one men and old ass white men? Why were they the last one? As much as the population of the U.S. has become more diverse and progressive, and why did we have a pick from Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, old ass white men?
Well, my thoughts is this. is because the whole situation with Obama, I think people got scared. Like, you know what, we keep letting these minorities come in and we're going to start losing control. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, we don't want that, so we're going to try to, we got to get one of our own in, because if we don't get one of our own in, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. That's, matter of fact, that is the very reason why Trump is president right now.
You're
is
right.
because they saw black men as president and they saw themselves losing power.
And they went with this Joker. Crazy. And that's what I think it's something that you said earlier. It's like, white people, I don't want to say it amongst racial lines, but it seems like a lot of Trump supporters vote against their own self-interest.
Right.
Like, they vote against what would be well for their economy. Like, for example, there are a lot of black people that are benefiting from the tax credits that Donald Trump has passed. You know, there are a lot of black families that are doing very well and, you know, reap the benefits of the tax cuts. However, they know the morality question is like, yo, this dude did help me with my pockets, but I can't believe what he's doing to my other men, my fellow Americans. And so there's a morality question. Whereas I feel a lot of other white Trump supporters don't care. They'll shoot themselves in the foot just so that black and brown people do not benefit from anything. Like, they want to retain power. It's something about having that white privilege, which they know that they have. They admit it, like, yes. Because if you ask anyone, would you trade places with a black or brown person for 24 hours, I'm sure the answer would be no. And this person you asked a question to could probably be very low on the income scale, but still would not trade places with any minority for 24 hours. So that lets you know that they recognize a certain privilege they have, an inherent privilege. And so they are voting against their own economic self-interest because they want to hold on to that privilege.
See, Republicans are extremely smart, because what they do is that they use their keywords,
Yes.
to try to get, like, prime example, they don't give a fuck about them either. Let's just be 100. They don't give a fuck about poor white people. They don't. But they're smart enough to know how to manipulate them enough to come out and vote for them. They were like, listen, we can make them pay more in taxes. We can do whatever we want to do to them, as long as we do the following. We make sure that we ban abortions. We allow them to get as many guns as they want. And we deport Mexicans, and we keep black people in their place. That's all they care about. That's their number one voting thing, because when you say make America great again, that was a slogan that the Ku Klux Klan used, and then Reagan used it, and now Trump is using it. It is a dog whistle. It's a dog whistle for racist parts of this country who have too much voting power. Because matter of fact, me and Chanel were just talking about this the other day. Like, when you talk about how much revenue that a state generates in federal taxes, New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, we generate more tax revenue than a lot of those states that is in the Electoral College. So how is their vote? How are they a key state and my state isn't, but we make more money than they do? Like, it's just doesn't
or not
make
even
sense.
just by money, just population.
And
You know,
population,
we have
absolutely.
more people, you
Per
know, heavily
capita.
populated per capita. You're right, and unfortunately, though, we don't get as many House of Representatives as some other states because they knew back then that it wouldn't be fair to. That means they would always be the losing hand because of compared to the populated cities. You have Chicago, California has Los Angeles, and then you have New York. Those are heavily populated, and so if you went by population, how many senators? Why does everybody only get 2 senators? Um, when I have more than North Dakota. North Dakota got a fraction of the amount of people compared to New York, but they get the same amount of representation in Congress. It makes no sense.
That makes absolutely no sense. Because my whole thing is, how in the hell can the small minority make decisions for the majority? And that is just a flaw in politics, because in the end it's just not going. Well, we see it now. It doesn't end well. That's how we got this fucking numbnut in the fucking office now. The dude's like a toddler with ADHD and also got Tourette's. Like, he's a fucking idiot. And
But maybe he wasn't an idiot though.
no, he's an idiot.
Because he knew the key words to run on in his first campaign. He knew the messaging he had to say to get voters on his side. Like, he played on racial
That was
divisions.
Bannon.
He played on
That was Bannon.
right. So
No.
he had the right people
No.
in his corner.
Right. But that's a business. See, here goes the thing with businessmen, right? Businessmen, some, and I'm not saying all, some know that they're dumb as fuck, and they got to surround themselves with people who
Right.
they know who can win. And he grabbed on to Bannon, and Bannon came up with a strategy.
He knew what to
help
say.
him win.
Yes.
And it worked. And then what happened? He told Bannon to kick rocks.
So what, you think this go around he's just doing it all on his own?
No, I think he's going to still use the Bannon plan, use the dog whistle, try to get that part of America that doesn't normally vote to vote for him like he did in the last election. And if black people and brown people and women don't go to the polls and vote, he's going to get another term, and then we're really going to be fucked.
But it seems like the next 6 or 7 months is going to be based on a few key states. So the swing states is what pulled it. She won the popular vote. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, and he won the electoral college. So that means that Democrats have to be very strategic, and they have to go after the electoral college. It's not about the popular vote. So they have to create a strategy that's going to be appealing to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and what's the other one? Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Those are the ones that allowed him to win. They're considered the swing states. So, I mean, I don't know what Biden can do, in regard, and I think that's why he's weighing it. I think he's weighing to determine, like, look, if I do get a black vice president, female, will I alienate some of the swing voters in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and what was the other one? Wisconsin. And that's where he's probably, because even you said it, like, where's he at? Why isn't he out in front of the camera? Why isn't he, like, campaigning right now?
Right. I mean, and that's just, he needs to be out there. And that's because it's stupid. Because all you're hearing about him now is him trying to finger bang that chick in his office.
Oh, Lord.
And
Tara Reid.
Yeah, Tara Reid. I don't even believe that bullshit. I don't even believe that bullshit. Because my thing is, he ran for VP. Fuck it. He ran for president. When Obama
he's ran twice.
You ain't say shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't say not a goddamn thing. When he was VP, you ain't say another goddamn thing. When he was in the primaries, you ain't say a goddamn thing. Then all of a sudden now he's our guy, and all of a sudden now you talk about he tried to force finger bang me. I don't believe that shit.
Actually, that brings me to, he definitely needs to pick a black woman, because he has run for president, I think, 2 times before this time. So this was his 3rd time, and he failed both those times. And it wasn't until he could use Barack Obama's, I guess, curtails to ride in on, like, oh, y'all should vote for me because I was Barack Obama's VP.
I got a black friend.
Pretty much that he's now a viable candidate for president. So he owes a lot, because he tried to get up at bat a couple of times and failed. And it's because of his association with Barack Obama, a black man, that now he's a viable candidate. So, and it wasn't until South Carolina, when the black vote came out, that you're a viable candidate. So you need to pay it back.
Yeah.
Pay it back. And I'm sorry to say identity politics, but maybe that's what it is. Yes, I probably would vote for him if he had a black woman.
To be honest with you, it's one of them scenarios where, like, even if he didn't, you still vote for him. Because what you gonna do? You know
Well, you remember the talk a lot of people had in 2016? I ain't voting for either one because it's like they both bad. Hillary's
Joke's on
just
you,
as bad
bitch.
as Donald Trump.
Joke's on you, bitch.
So I wonder,
Hillary sounds a lot better right now. I'll take that hot sauce in the bag over this motherfucker any day. Word up.
But you don't think none of that kind of dialogue is gonna happen now? Like, yo, Biden, Trump, who cares? They're both bad.
I think what's gonna be the turning point for everybody is how COVID was handled. You know, you got people losing damn near like that. Those people up in New Jersey who lost almost their whole damn family. You know, you got people who's sick. You didn't get PPE. Now nurses are getting sick and dying. You got people losing money. People about to start losing their houses. People are losing their jobs. People can't feed their family. I think it's going to get to a point where, like, you know, it's not even going to matter. I mean, I think that a freaking giraffe with a suit on could probably run for president and motherfuckers would vote for it.
I don't know, Glenn. I feel after the disappointment of 2016, when I woke up in the middle of the night, it was like, oh shoot, this dude is president. Nothing seems to surprise me. Like, he could possibly win again.
No, I agree. No, I'm. Let me say this. I hope what I just said was right, but it wouldn't surprise me if this orange tangerine looking motherfucker became our president again, because
it's about holding on to your privilege.
Yeah, to the privilege.
To
you
your
don't want
power.
to let go. Listen, they saw those numbers where, like, I remember watching something on Fox News, and they were talking about how the Mexicans were going to be the majority.
The majority by 2045.
And if you would have heard how it was O'Reilly, right? Yeah, it was O'Reilly, and he was just like, yeah, we're you know, he said, white people, we're gonna be the minority, and you know, the Mexicans are gonna be the majority, and you would have seen his fucking
the panic.
He was panic in this motherfucker's face, and I'm like, wow, like these dudes are really scared about losing power,
and that's what would make
then
you vote against your own interests.
There you go.
It really would. I was, looking at the whole. It's kind of ironic, but the, white women, that demographic, voted more for Donald Trump than they did Hillary Clinton.
I don't understand that.
Like, that is crazy. Like, Hillary Clinton is your fellow white woman. She has a viable opportunity to be president, and instead, I think it was like maybe 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump
because of the fact that
they want to hold on to their privilege.
Right. Because, I mean, my thing is, I don't even understand how any woman can vote for him. He literally said, just grab him by the pussy.
But that lets you know that they're holding, look, I would rather hold on to the patriarchy of this country that it was established to maintain my power than to vote for her.
Yo,
but then, 2 weeks later, they went out there and they had the pink hats and they marched on Washington hating the man. But then, they voted for him overwhelmingly. It's like crazy.
Yo, it's crazy. No, I agree. My thing is, you voted for a dude who said grab him by the pussy. I don't know, dude. Nothing shocks me anymore at this point. You know,
nothing shocks me.
He said grab him by the pussy. The first lady was a fucking stripper. I don't know what the more. I don't know.
Yo, they threw everything. I don't know who are the people behind the curtain trying to tear this man down over the last 3 years. I mean, we had Playboy bunnies coming after him. We had porn stars coming after him. We had the tape about, as you said, grabbing women by their, just like everything has been thrown at this man. We had the Mueller, the Russia thing. Then we had the he's been impeached. There's so many things that has been thrown at him, and he still comes out stronger than ever, which really helps prepare me that he could possibly be reelected again.
Yep.
So, with that being said, I wonder if the death rate of COVID-19 as it goes up, will his support wane? So here we are already at 90,000 people have passed away, really from February until May. Overwhelming. That's crazy. 90,000 people have died. Mm-hmm. And so, what is the magic number for people to be like, enough? This is ludicrous.
I think his supporters are not going to stop voting for him. They're just not.
But there has to be a magic number, Glenn. There has to be. Is it 100,000 people die?
No, I don't think. No, I'm. Listen, for these people to be out in the street protesting the fact that they got to stay in the house because there's a deadly virus outside, and then they go. Matter of fact, one of the people who did the protest, her ass got infected with COVID. Like they're fucking retarded. So those people lack chromosomes. They're going to vote for Trump because they're genetically stupid. They missing chromosomes. Their DNA is fucked up, and they're gonna go out and vote for this dickhead. But I think what's gonna happen though is when people who didn't vote last year, who said I'm not voting for neither one of them, I have a feeling they're gonna go out and vote this time.
You think that they have been suddenly motivated to like, I need to get my ass.
Yeah, death is a motivator.
However, in order to vote, are you going to stand in line? And so that's a new dilemma. Yeah.
Listen. At this point, I will fucking stand in line in a plastic fucking bag with 4 masks on my fucking face and some goggles.
I know, but they do have the mail-in voting, which I'm probably going to take advantage of. I don't think I'll go.
Listen, any way I can vote, I'm voting.
Yeah.
Listen, if I got to fucking send it by carrier pigeon, I'm fucking voting. You gotta get this dickhead out of here, because here goes the situation. COVID ain't going nowhere for a while. You know, sometimes here goes the scary thought. You know, sometimes they don't find a vaccine for shit. Like herpes is forever.
Oh Lord, how do we go from coronavirus to herpes? What are you talking about?
I'm going somewhere with this.
Oh Lord,
they ain't find a vaccine for herpes. You know what I'm saying? Herpes is forever. If you got herpes, your fucking dick look like a nutty buddy for the rest of your life.
Lord,
you're fucked. Sometimes they don't come up with vaccines. What happens if they don't come up with a vaccine for COVID? What happens, or if they do come up with a fucking vaccine for COVID? You know, how long is it going to take for them to get it?
Right now, he came out just 2 days ago and said warp speed efforts.
I forgot about that.
Warp speed. We're talking about Star Trek Generation terminology. Warp speed ahead efforts.
He's like CDC.
For a vaccine for COVID-19.
He's like CDC, make it so.
Like he used that. Like, yeah, this is going to be good. Like, let's use warp speed. Like, who in the world is helping write his speeches that thinks like he really has the same level or vocabulary or reading as my 9-year-old?
It's because Barron helps him write his shit. I guarantee you Barron was like, yo man, say warp speed, that'll get him. He's like, yeah, thanks Barron.
Warp speed ahead.
Speeches. You're awesome.
Like, I mean, come on. The flu vaccine, we all get that, you know, if you believe in it, you get it every season, every year. But it's not 100% coverage. Sometimes some years go by and they say that it didn't cover the flu. It flew as much as it did years prior. Like, oh, shoot, the strain we made up is not fighting the flu as much. So even though there's a vaccine for the flu, it doesn't give you 100% coverage against it. Okay. So, is there anything before our next episode you want to have people ponder and think about?
Yeah, I just got one last thing to say. I'm gonna put on my Barry White voice.
Oh
Lord. Obama, if you are listening, I need you to come home, baby.
He's not.
I need you to come back home, baby. I need you to come home. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have let you go.
Maybe Biden can make him a VP.
Nah, I don't. I just need you to come on home.
He can't. It's in the Constitution. He cannot run again.
I mean,
but he could be a VP.
Nah, Obama. If you need a job recommendation, I'll write it. Just come on home, baby. We need you.
I don't think he wants. He don't want to be put up with the
He's like,
racism. He's like making a lot of money on Netflix
Yeah,
right
he's like,
now.
"Fuck that,
He's
I'm
like,
getting them Netflix
he's like,
checks."
I'm good, yo. I'm
I'm
good.
getting Netflix checks. I don't need this shit. Fuck the White House.
Yeah, they was talking about my wife when I was in there. They was making fun of the fact I came out one day in a tan suit. Like I can't.
A tan goddamn
You
suit.
know, so forget it. He's like, I'm gonna write this book. I'm gonna let my wife shine for a couple years with her book and her documentary, and then I'm gonna come out with mine. And then, we're gonna ride it out to the bank. So hopefully maybe things will change. Maybe we'll get another $1,200 by the next episode.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that if it happens.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, peace, people.